it's not that he's afraid. That's not what he really means. He's saying it that way, but that's not what that is. What that is that anytime a fight is announced, you become fearful of the unknown. You become fearful of what could happen. That happened.
Hits, Mike. I really want to see, bro. Let's see all the legends, the myths, because you're Iron Mike Tyson, but I have an Iron.
Mike Tyson's comments about being terrified to death before their impending fight have been made fun of by Jake Paul. Although the talk about the upcoming conflicts is undeniable, there is a noticeable difference in viewpoints, which contributes to the conversation. Shakur Stevenson recently spoke to Ellie Seek about the situation from his point of view. In response to the impending battle, Stevenson said, "I don't know. That's going to be weird. I adore Jake Paul. I like Jake Paul's contributions to boxing, his fighters, and his behind-the-scenes work." Stevenson, however, is opposed to Mike Tyson making a comeback to the ring. But Stevenson found himself expressing concerns about the former heavyweight champion when Ellie Seback questioned him about this. Stevenson acknowledged that he understood Tyson's desire to enter the ring, but while being a loyal fan of Tyson, he is unwilling to attend the fight. He said, "I am not a supporter of that. Mike seems to be getting older in his job, and although I don't want to see him gain money, I do believe he should. I don't want to see it because, as you can see, I also like Mike Tyson." The last time Iron Mike entered the squared ring was for an exhibition bout against Roy Jones Jr. in November 2020. So in a discourse about mirror boxing, who could provide a more realistic depiction of what it's like to take Tyson's blows in retirement, Roy Jones Jr. stated that it would be difficult for Paul to win the fight. Jones Jr. added, "When I boxed him, he still punched like Mike Tyson. If he hits anybody square on the chin, it's going to be problematic. I don't care who it is. I like Jake Paul. He's a good guy and he's doing good with his boxing stuff." Jones also suggested that from a promotional standpoint, the fight holds significant potential for generating substantial revenue, implying that both contenders stand to gain a significant amount of money from the contest. Meanwhile, UFC legend Cerrone offers a different viewpoint, expressing confidence that Tyson will win the fight.
I hope he gets back to "I'll eat your children." I hope he gets crazy like that.
Still Mike Tyson.
Have you seen the videos of Tyson at 18 and Jake Paul at 18?
Dude.
He's like singing and skipping and doing some Disney show, and Tyson's just world champion, killing it.
San claimed to have seen the footage of Tyson and Jake Paul, stating that while Tyson was a world champion and murdering everyone, Paul was singing, skipping class, and performing in Disney shows when he was only 18. Despite Tyson's admission to Sean Hannity that he was terrified of the fight, San claimed to have seen the recordings. In contrast, Tyson's training video shows him as a determined and self-assured fighter who is willing to take on any challenge. This is seen in his exchange with Cerrone Dale Brisby. Then he said that Jake Paul would probably be curious about how it would go, and that Tyson would have that memorable first walkout.
The thing that Tyson's going to have in his corner, pun intended, is just that first walkout. Because you know Jake Paul's going to be like, "Man, how is this going to go? I've been in 9 fights. How is this about?"
Cerrone countered that Mike Tyson wouldn't consider that. He made a big point about how no one punches quite like Tyson. When the subject of their age difference came up, Cerrone made the amusing suggestion that Paul may have learned how to knock out Mike Tyson when he was younger. Cerrone is a fervent fan of Tyson and is certain that Iron Mike will defeat the troublemaker.
Nobody hits like Tyson.
And then Mike Tyson is not going to be thinking that.
Bro, Jake Paul played Mike Tyson Punch Out when he was a kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you got to fight Tyson.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker just.
In the latest news, Tyson has shown an unwavering confidence in the next fight. Even at 58 years old, he's still fired up and ready to take on the young 27-year-old. Paul Tyson is still tough and eager to respond to those who berate his choice to fight at this point in his life. But he stresses that these detractors miss something important when making their judgments. Tyson said, "I'm 58, and what I'm getting is billions of views from just talking to somebody about fighting everybody, even the majority of the athletes they're jealous of, in a Reader's interview. That is absurd. You couldn't pull 1 million people in your prime, in my opinion, guy. What topic are you discussing? An arena couldn't be sold out. Who at 58 could pack an 80,000-seat arena?" Paul has secured victories in his last 2 matches, both against lesser-known professional boxers. Dana White, the CEO of UFC, has hinted that Paul might require Tyson's presence to boost sales, a notion echoed by Tyson himself. However, Tyson said, "Why do you think he wants to fight me? And not anybody else. Everybody wants to fight him. All the boxers want to fight him." But if he fought them, the only people that will come are the people that like him. The other guys, their parents, might not even come to watch them. That's just keeping it real. They're too boring for their children to watch. It's like watching grass grow. In a recent interview, Jake Paul's ex coach BJ Flores shared his thoughts on Paul's upcoming fight. With Mike Tyson, he said that if he were still training Paul for the fight against Tyson, he would focus on making sure Jake stays on the outside. Flores emphasized that despite Tyson being 57 years old, he is not a typical 57-year-old. Tyson has a remarkable physique and likely uses TRT anti-aging treatment. Tyson's strength and explosive power make him a dangerous opponent, and Flores noted that while people talk about his age, they frequently ignore the possible blood work and treatments Tyson may be using. Flores believes that Tyson will be especially dangerous in the first few rounds of the fight, because Jake has never faced someone as big, strong, and skilled on the inside as Tyson.
That's a credit to his, testament to, continue to stay in shape, to work out, and then all the probably for sure other science that, TRT and what other, older men are using to stay strong. So people talk about his age, but people don't talk about the blood work that Mike Tyson probably has, and that's something that's very dangerous for anybody, because he's still got the body of a very strong.
When asked about his thoughts on the fight's trajectory, Flores said it's hard to say for sure, but he believes Tyson will pose a serious threat to Jake, given the additional challenges he will have to deal with. If he were Jake, he would try to get Tyson into the middle to later rounds of the fight, because of Tyson's potentially lethal early round power.
I think he's dangerous, very dangerous first few rounds. Jake's never fought anybody that big, that strong, and for sure not that could fight that well on the inside, not even close. So there's a lot of new obstacles that Jake's got to be prepared for.
When asked directly if Jake Paul could defeat Tyson, Flores emphasized the need of staying at a distance and staying far away from Tyson in order to avoid his powerful body and headshots. He also expressed his hope that Jake could pull off a victory, but he also acknowledged that a victory by Tyson would still be impressive, given his legendary status in the boxing community.
And I think it's going to be one of those situations where, you give Mike 4 months to get ready for anything, and and he's taking this very seriously. Obviously, in the training videos, it's going to be difficult for anybody, in the first couple rounds. If I'm Jake, I'm going to try to get him to the middle, to the later rounds, and do the most of my work then, because in the beginning, it's very dangerous for Jake.
Do you think Jake Paul beats him?
I hope so. I hope he does. I think it'd be crazy.
In closing, Flores stated that although he would prefer Jake to prevail, Tyson's standing as a revered and well-liked boxing icon would still make Jake the crowd favorite. Flores thinks the fight will be exciting to watch, particularly to see if Tyson can handle Jake in the middle or later rounds, should the fight proceed that far.
Nobody wants to go against Uncle Mike. Mike is he's like family to everybody, and everyone knows him, and just how he's evolved as a human being over the last 20 years it's been really nice to watch. So I think Mike will definitely be the favorite as far as people wanting him to win, but whether he's able to deal with Jake in the middle or later rounds, if they get that far, that'll be interesting.
Sako Bika, the ex-WBC super middleweight title holder, is advocating for Jake Paul to square off against him rather than Mike Tyson amid ongoing uncertainties surrounding the bout's viability. Va extended an invitation to the YouTuber for a fight amidst uncertainties surrounding Tyson's eligibility. The offer comes with the condition that Tyson must obtain medical clearance before the bout. Vega said, "I have reached the top of the sport, becoming a multiple-time world champion and winning the prestigious Contender Series. I have nothing more to prove to anyone, but I would like to have one more big fight if someone like Jake Paul or his brother would really like to test himself against a recent world champion. I'm always ready to fight." B confessed his childhood admiration for Tyson, yet he believes Paul should spar with opponents of similar experience. Nonetheless, he admires Tyson's determination to maintain his fitness. B said Mike Tyson is an all-time great boxer. He was a hero of mine growing up, and even though he looks in great shape, he is almost 60 years old. If Jake Paul is serious about fighting a former champion, look for someone a lot younger or active within the last decade. I can fight Jake Paul at any weight he wants.
How old Mike Tyson is, because to me, one shot, to your point, to the opponent's jaw, and it is lights out. So are you worried for Jake Paul's safety in this
Despite
fight?
these limitations potentially impeding his preparation for the Texas bout, Tyson seems fully committed, sparing no effort. In an interview with Fox News, invading the fray, Roy Jones Jr. was once Tyson's opponent in their 2020 exhibition match, giving his viewpoint. Jones explores the core of Tyson's fear, suggesting that it stems more from anticipation than from true fear. Could this fear work to Tyson's covered advantage? Or will it turn into an underscore in his armor that Paul can take advantage of? The Fox News interviewer asked Roy Jones Jr. a provocative question. Mike Tyson was on Hannity last night. He mentioned his fight with you, but he also said something surprising about being afraid. Listen to this. This set up for Tyson's own words to resound profoundly, but Roy then discussed his thoughts on the impending fight.
I am worried for his safety, and I am very glad to hear that they may be wearing headgear, because that will help a little bit. It won't help a lot.
Efficiently, the dialogue transitioned from a mere inquiry to a revitalizing confession, uncovering a facet of Tyson that was frequently concealed behind his intimidating demeanor. Following Tyson's unexpected disclosure, the interviewer shifted focus, seeking Jones Jr.'s perspective on this revelation. What do you think about the fact that he said he was afraid to fight you? He's afraid to fight. Jake Paul, I don't think many people tie Mike Tyson's name to the feeling of fear. The interviewer inquired, prompting a deeper exploration into the nature of fear in boxing. Roy Jones Jr. responded with understanding and clarity. Here's the thing. It's not that he's afraid. That's not what he really means. He's saying it that way, but that's not what that is. That is, anytime a fight is announced, you become fearful of the unknown. You become fearful of what could happen that happens right away. Roy added that, as Tyson mentioned, as the fight date approaches, boxers often become immune to those initial feelings of fear or nervousness. Roy described this as a typical experience for boxers as they prepare for a fight.
I don't think many people tie Mike Tyson's name to the feeling of fear.
Well, here's the thing. It's not that he's afraid. That's not what he really means. He's saying it that way, but that's not what that is. What that is that anytime a fight is announced, you become fearful of the...
Roy went on to say that he felt there was a difference between old school boxers and new school boxers. Old school fighters were not hesitant to admit or own their worries in an honest way. But as the fight draws near and training becomes more intense, fear usually goes away.
You become fearful of what could happen. That happens right away. But like you said, as those days get closer, we become immune to that.
The combination of Tyson's honest admission and Jones' insightful analysis highlights a fundamental truth in the boxing world. Facing one's fears is a sign of strength, not weakness. In the same interview, the conversation began cordially and swiftly turned to Roy Jones Jr.'s previous experience with Mike Tyson.
And in reality, I'm invincible.
What do you think about that? He said he was afraid to fight you. He's afraid to fight Jake.
Now we know that Tyson explicitly stated that the upcoming bout would be an exhibition, not a professional fight. Despite this assertion, Tyson underscored that the match would adhere to traditional boxing regulations. Consequently, when Michael Benson circulated this news on social media today, fans breathed a collective sigh of relief. Turning to X, Benson wrote that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on July 20th is now confirmed to be an exhibition bout and will not be officially sanctioned as a pro fight. Tyson has confirmed, however, that the exhibition will be contested under standard boxing rules. This is a fight amidst the fervent buzz is encircling the impending showdown between Paul and Tyson. Benson's tweet swiftly ignited a storm across social media platforms, garnering a plethora of comments among them. One user said it was embarrassing from Jake, and it's time to try and sanction this in the first place. He's 63, mocked JJ for fighting exhibitions, now doing one himself against a guy who is old enough for free bus passes. A different individual proposed that Jake Paul made a critical error in accepting the fight, as either outcome could tarnish his reputation should he emerge. Victorious critics might dismiss his achievement as defeating an elderly opponent. Conversely, if he suffered defeat, detractors could mock him for being bested by an older adversary. The user wrote, "Such a waste of time, man. I have no idea why Jake took this fight. Besides the money, it's literally a lose-lose-lose situation for him." He didn't think this one through. Another individual savored the auspicious announcement, asserting that regulatory bodies retain a modicum of rationality to prevent the occurrence of such a bout in the realm of professional boxing. This user said, "So there is still common sense in boxing. I was worried for a minute." The subsequent commentator pointed out that Paul's initiative to have the bout approved proved to be a professional boxing spectacle. The fans said the fact that Jake Paul and his team tried to push this fight for pro sanctioning is the most embarrassing thing about this. Although many appear pleased with the exhibition status of the bout, it remains imperative to acknowledge Jake Paul and Mike Tyson's serious approach to the fight, treating it akin to a professional match. Hence, fans' concerns retain validity. Tyson is susceptible to defeat, or worse yet, sustaining significant injury. One individual emphasized that even the boxing regulatory body, which they described as questionable, would never authorize a match featuring a 58-year-old contender. They said no surprise, even the dodgy commissions were never going to sanction a 58-year-old, while Mike Tyson received a stern cautionary note. Jake Paul, the up-and-coming boxer, is primed to flatten him, following an unexpected punch to Tyson's face while assisting a fan with pad work. A video of Tyson holding pads for fans went viral earlier this week when he unexpectedly took a blow to the face. A user commented on the video, saying, "Reed Paul is going to knock him out easily, and I hate Paul." Another user went on, "Yeah, buddy, that is the one fellow you do not want to rile up." However, Jake Paul has issued a chilling warning to Mike Tyson and made a huge threat for the July 20th clash, stepping into the ring to face one of boxing's legends. Paul exudes confidence despite the daunting challenge ahead. He's been building excitement for the fight on social media, directly challenging Tyson via Instagram. The YouTuber-turned-fighter displayed his intense training routine in the video, but what really got people talking was the audacious caption that Paul wrote, "I'm going to bite your ear off." Mikey is obviously referring to Tyson's